This conference will now be recorded.
This is owner's class number 2 for Windows, and hopefully the video is going to record this time. So we are going to start by double clicking on MySewnet embroidery, and then you're going to see you have your tools and you have the embroidery. What I want you to click on is the tools folder, and in there you'll find configure. So open up configure. And then we're going to go under utilities, and we are going to do reset all modules. And we only do that so everyone is at the exact same starting point. And everything's reset to their default, and go ahead and say okay to that. And then we're going to go back to MySewnet, and we are going to click on the embroidery file. It's going to take it a second to open up here. All right, and we are going to click on a blank canvas. And then the hoop size we want is 240 by 150, and you can pick the machine you own or you can use the universal. So for today, I am going to just use that. And we want to click it to natural so that it's sitting the way it's going to sit when it goes in the machine. So say okay to that. And then we're going to click on Super Designs. And we're on Super Designs, and I want to set the categories to all. And then I'm going to go over here to the gallery viewer, and I want to scroll down, and I want to find the coffee time file, which is under food and drink. So just keep on scrolling down here. There's quite a few in here, and apparently I scrolled right past it. So I'm going to go back up here and try to find it again. Okay. Copy time. It's disappeared from my file. Okay, so that's good. Let's just go up here and type copy. And hit enter. And there we go. It took me right to the one I want. So let's click the fourth design, which is, looks like a French press to me, and go ahead and click apply. All right. And so now we're going to choose the third design in, which is the coffee beans. And before we say apply to that one, we want to change our size to 30. And click apply. And then we have our one little coffee beans sitting here in the middle. And you can go ahead and grab them and drag them off to the side so you can see them. Please make sure they're selected either by finding it in the film strip or clicking on it here to get that green box around it. And now we're going to go to use the Encore tab. And the type of layout we want is the circle, so it's selected to that. And we want it to be standard, meaning there's not any mirroring or flipping. And we want the repeats to be 6. So we're going to click on preview to see what that looks like. And now there are 2 circles around the pot. And so if you left click and hold down the mouse button, you can expand it and grab so that none of the beans are touching the pot. And when you're happy with where they're sitting, go ahead and click apply. So in the film strip now, you can see that all the coffee beans are selected. But we want to also select the coffee pot. So we're going to go ahead and hold down the shift key and click the coffee pot and the beans. And now they're all into one group. And the dashed line is showing you that everything is selected. So now we're going to go over to the Home tab. And in the ribbon bar, we're going to click Group. Give me a second here to turn off that other speaker. Okay, so we're going to click Group. And when we went to Group, you can see that the line around everything changed to a solid line. So that means if you want to move it, it's all going to be moved as one. So if you want to move it around, you can. If you want to see what the groups are, you can come down here to click on the eyeball at the bottom of the film strip and click on Reveal Groups, and you can see everything individually here in the film strip, or you can go ahead and click it and put them all back as one. So when you have the four arrow mouse, you can go ahead and drag that down towards the bottom of the hoop. Okay, and now we're going to go back up to Super Designs again, and we're still at the same one, and we want to click on Coffee Break. Let's click on that, and we're going to leave the size as it is and say Apply. And you can see that it dropped right there, so let's go ahead and move it up to the center half of the hoop. Okay. Now, at this point, we can use the alignment tool, which we have to go back to the Home tab tool, which you didn't mention in the book, but let's go over there to that. And then we can do alignment, and it's only at this point, it's only has one thing selected. So if we click on the coffee break and then click on the rest of the group, and then we go to alignment, and we can go to align to the center, and then we can click again on alignment and go to vertical alignment and align in the middle. Whoops, we didn't want to do that one, so undo, and it took it back to where we wanted it. So we can now go ahead and move the coffee break right here, and we can make it so that stitches first. So we're going to click on here, and that would move it up to in the stitching order. So then again, if you wanted to use the alignment tools again, you could. So if you want to keep this design, so we're done playing with it right now, so you can use your save, and then you can do your export to go ahead and save that design if you want to mess around with it later. Now we're going to move on to monograms. So I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go say I want a new blank canvas. And I don't want to save those changes. So I'm going to say no. And this time we're going to get a 120 by 120 hoop. And we want the orientation to be natural, which is selected, and say okay to that. So this time we're making a monogram, but we're going to do it without using the monogram wizard, just to show you there's so many options in how you can create a monogram. So you're going to begin by clicking on the letter tab, and I am on page 7, number 4. So on the letter tab, we are going to come over here to the shape, and the shape we want to use is a diamond. And so I'm going to click on the diamond, and then we're going to go over to the fonts, and we're going to click the gallery viewer, and we are going to look for the monogram or the font we want to use, which is under Monogram. So those are alphabetical. So we're going to go to Monogram, and then the font we want to use is Olympia 2C UC. Olympia 2C UC, and the size is the 15 by 30. UC Olympia 15 by 30, so go ahead and click on that one. Okay, and you can then type the initials in there that you want to use for your monogram. And just to stick with so it looks like the sample, I'm going to type in NBA. Oops, I'm going to click in the letter box and then type in NBA. And because it says UC, I can click the small letters and it will make them all cap anyway. So go ahead and say apply to that. All right, so I do think that's a little small, so let's go and make it 20 and say apply. And then the first one I'm going to go ahead and delete. Okay, so I'm going to get this guy, put him up here and a little bit in the center, just to help me visually. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we can, because I selected the shape of a diamond, I can grab like that and make it into what we would think is a monogram looking thing. And just by dragging the squares, if I want to make that a little bigger there, I could do that. So you have all kinds of options just with that. So now let's go up here to the letter tab and let's put a frame around our monogram. So I clicked on frame, and now I'm going to click on flourish, which is the category. I'm going to click on that one and then choose your favorite flourish. So I'm going to click the drop down and I'm going to look around here. It looks like that one is the one they used. So I'm going to go ahead and say apply. And there you go. I have it on the bottom. Why did it go on the bottom? Because I didn't select anything else up here. So under the flourish options, I'm going to go to click above. And now I have one at both places. And basically you have just now created a monogram without going into the monogram wizard. So if you like that, you can do save and export, and you have a monogram ready to go. And you can see you got a million options under here to make different ones. Okay, so let's go ahead and do another sample of a monogram. And this time we're going to use a different technique in the lettering part of it. So we're going to go File, New Window, View, New Window. It's coming, give it a second. New Window. And you come back over here. Try to sneak over to my other screen. New Window, blank canvas. And we want it to be 120 by 120 again. So select that 120 by 120, and we're going to have a natural orientation, and we're going to say okay. And then I'm going to blow that screen up so he's covering the whole thing. Okay, so this time we're going to click on the letter tab. And we are going to use the same monogram we just did. So we're going to go under Monogram, and we're going to do the UC Olympia again. And we're going to type in the same letters, NBA. And then we are going to come over here, and our shape is going to be the default shape, which is the horizontal line. But beside that, we want to make sure we click individuals. So I'll show you what that gives us the option to do. So select individuals, go ahead and select apply. So now if you take a look at each letter, there's actually a block around it. So if I want to deselect this, the whole thing, and now I'm going to select just the one in the middle. And then I'm going to go on here, and then I can individually shape each one of the monograms, or shape and size each one of the monograms. And again, you can, a normal one would be where the middle one is bigger, so you can put them the way you, whoopsie, don't grab that. You can put them the way you would like that. And now we're going to reselect them all and make them into a group now that we have them the way we want. So control, click, and now, oops, we got them all in the group again. So now let's go back to the frame tab another time. And this time we're going to make this monogram into a applique. So let's go ahead and click frame, which is the default. And we're going to use the gallery viewer, and we're going to go to applique shields. And we're going to go to applique shields number 5. And we want to select number 9. And there it is. So you can see the number and the category. So click on that and click apply. So there you go. You just made a monogram with an applique. So if you want to see the order of the stitching, you're going to click on the design player, and you're going to see that it's going to have those stops inside the applique. Tack down, or show you where to put it, cut around, satin stitch, and then it's going to go on to the letters. So when you're done looking at the stitch out, you can go ahead and cancel that. So then go ahead, if you love this, you want to keep it, we can do a save as, and we can do an export to prepare it for stitching. All right. So that was 2 ways to make monograms without using the wizard. So this time we are going to go ahead and use the wizard to create the monogram. So let's go File. We're going to come down here to the Express Monogram Wizard. Click on that. And you're going to see here that you have different types of monograms. And we're going to do a 3-letter monogram. And you can see all the different configurations, whether all the letters are large, all the letters are small. You have 2 large, 1 small. So you have all these different options right in here. So we are going to use the traditional one, which is the small, medium, or small, middle, big. And then in here, you're going to go ahead and put your initials. And then click on the envelope style, which is right here. And we want this to be classic 1, which is the first one. So we're clicking on that one. And now we can click on the full letter. So we're going to click on the full letter, and then we can go back into our fonts, and we're going to go to the retro category. And we are going to select Zephyrus 55 right here to 80. Remember, what do these mean? This number means that is your best size for stitch out. If you decide to go outside that, I always recommend you do a test. If you're stitching your monogram out within this size, I actually would not even bother to do a test. So in here, we can also select our stitch type if you want a satin, if you want a running. All those things are available right there. So now we're going to click on the small letter tab, which I have lost. Small letter tab right there. And this time we're going to make sure we have alternative style clicked. And so this is going to give us the option to make those two small letters a different font. So we're going to go into elegant as the category, and then we are going to select Corinthian. One more, elegant Corinthian, and go right there. And you can see now that it changed those two to a different style of font. And now we're going to go up to the top and click on the border, and we can select a border to put around the font. And it can also be an applique if you want. So we're going to go ahead and click, we just want the satin stitch. And if you didn't know, you could go to motif. If you wanted a motif. If you want to change the motif, you could do that right here by picking a different motif, say heart. Okay, but once again, the sky is the limit on what you can do with this monogram wizard. So when you have it the way you want it and you want to keep it, you can go ahead once again and save and export. So that gave you a nice overview of monograms using the wizard, and then it also gave you an overview of combining using the super designs. So that's the conclusion for the class today.